We got it.
All right, we'll bring this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And is Bishop Sims here today? How are you doing, sir?
Yes, sir. How are you?
I believe you're going to lead us in prayer.
Yes, sir. The earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof, and all they that dwell therein. Father, we just want to say thank you once again for your loving kindness, for your mercy, for your amazing grace. We thank you, God, for this opportunity we're able to humble ourselves before the mighty throne of God and just say thank you. Father, we thank you, God, for this city, the city of Beckley, West Virginia, for this administration. We ask, oh Father, as never before, that indeed that you will guide them, that you'll grant them the divine wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding that is so much needed for such a time as this. We pray, oh God, that the city will be prosperous and peaceful, God, in each and every situation. Certainly, Father, we take time to pray for those that are suffering so greatly there in California as well as there in New Orleans. I pray, oh God, that your hands of mercy and grace will continue to rest upon them. And we certainly pray, God, for the incoming President, God, for all of his administration, for our governor, for his administration. Continue to help us all, oh Lord, that we might be a people to give your name the glory, honor, and praise. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you very much. So as a reminder, we would like any council member to state any conflict of interest prior to discussion on any agenda item. That's kind of new this year. And we do have a new agenda format, so bear with me. It's not that we've had 5 weeks off, but just a little bit new. So we're going to start with a roll call, and I will call out your name, and then you say present. Councilwoman Bullock. Present. Councilman Buchanan. Here. Councilman Williams. Here. Councilwoman Shoemaker Dingus.
Present.
Councilwoman Coots.
There's always them. Here.
Mayor Ron Neal, I'm here. Councilwoman Hunter.
Present.
Councilman Reedy.
Present.
City Attorney Mr. File.
Present.
City Manager Michael Rozier.
Present.
Interim Recorder Treasurer Chandler.
Present.
Thank you very much. All right, not too difficult. First item on the agenda is the reading approval of the minutes from December 10th, 2024 council meeting. May I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Any debate or corrections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed say no. Okay, thank you, council. The next is the reading approval of the minutes from the January 8th, 2025 special council meeting minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Any debate or corrections? All those in favor of passing say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed say no. Okay, thank you, council. Next item is the city manager's report. At this time, I will turn it over to Michael Rozier.
Perfect, thank you. A few things I want to start with, and a big thank you to our Public Works Department for clearing off the snow in the last big snowstorm we just had, and they did a wonderful job. The roads were really clear right afterwards, and also to the public safety departments that helped facilitate the rescues for those people that had issues on the roads and helping get people stuck and working through that whole storm. And we want to give a big thank you to that. And I know we have another storm projected to come up, and so we just want to say thank you and continue the good work right there. The other thing we need to do is recognize Jill Moorfield here. She was given the Hall of Fame for the West Virginia Association of Fairs and Festivals. So I give a round of applause right there. And then at that festival, I'm going to turn it over to Jill to list off some of the other awards that we want to recognize and different things like that.
Well, I don't have the bug, but there was a bug going around at the convention, so I was trying to protect everybody. The West Virginia Association of Fairs and Festivals has a convention every year in Charleston in January, and there's over 100 festivals that are there. It consists of a trade show, entertainment showcases, business meeting, workshops, and a pageant where 88 girls representing festivals across the state compete to be the state fair queen. and represent the association. They also give out like communication awards, and we entered the Rhododendron Festival brochure and poster and got first place, 100% on both of those, so we were happy about that. Our Rhododendron Festival queen, Haley Spencer, actually was third runner-up out of 88 girls, so that's amazing. The Kids Festival queen was great too. We did have another gal from Raleigh County, Mia Beckley, who made the top 15. She was representing the West Virginia Oil and Gas Association or Festival. And then Alyssa Lilly is the outgoing fair queen. She's been the queen the last year. She's from Daniel. So we had good representatives. Leslie was there and several others. And it was just a really good weekend. And I just honored to get that award. I want to share it with the whole community because it takes a lot of folks to put those events on. We have a great committee and appreciate all the city departments that helps and everybody that sets up a booth or performs or whatever. It takes a lot, and we got a lot to be proud of. But thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much. The other thing is I want to make council aware that we're going to do police and fire promotions on January 27th at 11 here at City Hall. Our acting fire chief, Ed Thompson, is actually going to be promoted to the Chief Thompson at that point right now. So I definitely want to invite all the council members to attend that for that promotion. The other thing is the Chamber of Commerce would like to put on a reception for the council members and the city manager on February 4th at 5 to 7, and I'll get you more details regarding that. The police department is accepting applications for our 2025 Citizen Police Academy class. Application deadline is March 25th, 2025. I also want to make a note that I have reached out to the West Virginia Highway Department, their traffic engineer, Randall Pack, in regards to the timing for Harper Road lights. And they're opening an investigation into helping fix the timing that might be going on to help alleviate some of the traffic issues between Carriage Drive to the freeway entrance there. So right now they said they've replaced all of those lights and it's under contract, and so the contractor might not have timed them correctly, and so now they're going to look into that timing, and I will be following up to make sure that way we coordinate with them to help facilitate at least on the timing wise, the traffic to help that traffic flow. The other news I have is that we have just had our third party financial audit come through last week. Jessica can talk more about that, but realistically they came in, did our audit. Who's the company?
Ferrari and Associates.
Yeah, Ferrari and Associates that we've contracted. So they've come in. They're going to give us a report.
Should be the end of January.
The end of January that will get out to the council and the public to review and to look at that. Also, the demolition on Neville is progressing, and I'm told that the street should have both lanes opened up again here pretty soon. And that's all I have for council right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is going to be comments from the mayor and council members. At this point, if there is a topic that you would like to be considered for future city council meetings, this is the opportunity to do it. So, Councilwoman Bullock, we'll start with you. Nothing for you? Okay. Councilman Buchanan?
Nothing right now.
Next?
Demolition of houses,
Just to have that on the,
agenda, yes.
put on, okay, thank you. Councilwoman Shoemaker Dingus?
I would like to bring up again recognition of citizens that have gone above and beyond the normal. We've had someone pose 2 names, and so far it's gone nowhere, and I think we should address that.
Very good, thank you. Councilwoman Coots?
What Councilwoman Dingus said, we need to get on that. I volunteer as tribute, I'll help handle that. But there are lots of people that are never going to be spirit of Beckley that need and deserve to be recognized. So we need to talk about it.
Very good. So last week I went and showed one of our vacant buildings. I think it was referred to as the WJLS building, even it's a little confusing because WJLS is kind of across the street where Farm and Campbell is, or Klein and Campbell. But we have some storefronts that are vacant. The good news is we have somebody interested in maybe going in there as a tenant. But on the bad news is we have WVVA whose lease is up and they will be leaving at the end of January. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So I would like council just to think about maybe in the next little bit and maybe get it on the agenda. Do we want to try to look at renovating that property? It's from 101 to 111, so it's several storefronts. I think we have one tenant now that would be remaining and maybe possibly a second. So do we want to go in and try to renovate that building, rent it out, be landlords as the city manager and I have discussed, or are we better off just auctioning it off that property? And as him and I, not to get into a discussion about it, but as we discussed, the problem is if you auction it off, there's no guarantee that whoever buys it is going to do anything with it. So at least, do we just weigh the options and, do we want to try to renovate it ourselves and control that property, or do we want to maybe auction it off shortly? So, all right, Councilwoman Hunter.
You can't get a second opportunity to make a good first impression, right? So in the months to come, I would love to see us to rejuvenate the beautification awards for wards 1 through 5 that we used to do long time ago. And if we could look at that, people would come in and plant a tree or acknowledge, and you would have people, and it kind of makes people say, you know what, we can spiff up our area a little bit. So I would like to see that. Also, it's new to the city. There's this business card that you have, and it has all of the contacts. I have a copy of one from a city in the Carolinas, and it has all of the numbers that people would call if they have an issue with this or this or this or this. And so it tells you exactly, it's really a wonderful tool.
Very good.
And I'd like to, sorry.
You're good.
You can't get a second opportunity to make a good first impression. I would like to discuss abandoned vehicles in the city. We've done that in the county, and so Donnie Morgan's been so good to work on that with us, but if we could still do that. Yeah. Abandoned vehicles.
Councilman Breedy.
Yeah, something got kind of brought to my attention. You brought up the traffic light situation. If you're heading down towards MacArthur, Crab Orchard, you get to 3rd Avenue and 4th Street. If you're going to go left to 4th Avenue or go left to 4th Street, there's no turn signal. So I've been there plenty of times trying to turn on, and you can't get through because all the traffic from the VA and Crab Orchards are coming. I've sat through 4 or 5 cycles, and actually someone came up to me that lives down that way and just wondered if that's something. I don't know if that's our stoplights or the state's, but maybe we can look into getting that turn signal, where the old Tudors was, and then across like where CVS and all that, turning into like if you're going to Park Middle School, there's no turn signal left. I thought that was something we could look into, and I feel like it could be a pretty easy change. The turning lanes are there, there's just no signal.
Okay, very good. All right, next item on the agenda is the approval of operations audit. The 11-page RFP that the city issued is included for your review. These documents were also sent via email prior to the meeting. So next is the only proposal we received was from Municipal Solutions LLC in the amount of $48,200. The detailed cost proposal is included for our review, as well as the proposed scope of work schedule and cost. So at this point, I will turn it back over to the city manager for a little bit more information on the bid.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and I believe we have David from Municipal Solutions on the line. Can we make sure that he's available and pulled up on here?
There he is. Yep.
Can you hear us, David?
Oh, we can't hear him.
We're not getting the sound through. Can you hear us, David? Can you say something to make sure that we hear you?
Yes.
Excellent.
Speaking. Would you like me to sing?
I heard you had a great voice, so we might get you to do that at some point. I just wanted to introduce, so Municipal Solutions is a company out of Arizona that does audits and different things for different municipalities. I believe on their bid process, they've done this for 500 other cities, municipalities, other government agencies, that they go in and perform different audits that they do. And so I think I would like to turn it over to David to kind of give an overview of his proposal for the city, because what we're asking for the city of Beckley is to have you come in and overview all of our departments, our operations, and find out how we can become more efficient, where we're spending our money, where the trend is in spending money in governments our size, and different things like that.
Thank you. And thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. I understand that you have some other items after this, some awards that you'd like to give, that you're planning to give, and some appointments. So I want to be as brief as I can and as concise as I can, but also to give you enough time to answer some questions. Just a little bit about myself. I have 6 children, five daughters. Had the opportunity to love them. They were fantastic. I have also had the privilege of working in this sphere of organizational development, change management. In several countries. I served 11 missions in Iraq, 13 in Afghanistan, Myanmar, Libya, Bangladesh. So not only doing work with local governments in the United States, I'm a former city manager, city planner, city clerk. I've worn a lot of hats, small, rapidly growing municipalities. So I kind of fell into this. Now 22 years later, we've had the privilege of working with a lot of municipalities. One of the challenges of local government, years ago, my then 7-year-old daughter, it's probably about 5 years old, we're driving down the street and I asked my daughter, "What does your dad do for work?" And she says very proudly, "Well, you're the city manager." And I should have left it at that, but I said, "What does a city manager do?" And she said, "You make sure all the toilets are working." And a lot of people don't realize just how much work goes into running a municipality, in your case an $84 million budget, assets, liabilities, infrastructure. And so there are opportunities with every municipality to find more effective and efficient ways to do things. The scope of work that we proposed is based upon more than 50 of these studies that we've done for local governments. We also do compensation classification studies, a lot of executive search. We know a lot about and are very much familiar with the operations of local governments. The proposal that you have before you, a similar proposal was provided by ICMA Consulting Services to a city manager in Michigan about 10 years ago. It really caught my attention because the city manager proposed this company as the only firm that does what we do, but they offered them they paid about $240,000 for the same study. Very similar formatting, very similar type of work, and we're offering it for far less than that. I'd like to share with you really briefly a little bit about, you have the proposal in front of you. It's a lot of explanation, a lot of process, and it's hard to understand what that means. So I'd like to give you a couple of examples if I can. The most important part of this process is we bring in practitioners. So I have retired and currently serving police chiefs, fire chiefs, IT directors, librarians. Depending upon the client and who we propose, they have to have qualifications, but they also have to be a good fit for the organization. They have to have an understanding. I can't bring somebody from a big city in to work on a project like this because there's nuance. There's a lot of different things. And the most important thing is, because we're working closely with the employees, this is not a find what's wrong and highlight what's wrong. This is more of a peer review where the employees, the department heads, get an opportunity to work with another professional and look at things, not only the way that they're currently doing things, but ways to which to create additional improvements. I'd like to share with you my screen, if I can. I want to give you an example of one of the studies that we did that's as a link that we provided in the document. When we go in, I'm going to make this larger. One of the things that we're looking for opportunities for greater efficiency or effectiveness, but we're also looking to highlight best practices. What's going well? What are the staff doing well? In one of the studies that we did for a municipality, 2 of the council members were adamant that there was waste, fraud, and abuse. When we did the study, we found out not only are they understaffed compared to other municipalities, but the department heads were cross-trained. A lot of other members of the departments were cross-trained. There was great lateral communication. And so that's important not only to identify opportunities for greater efficiency, but to highlight some of the best practices that are being implemented. When we find that sometimes departments are dealing with high volumes of work with limited ability to implement, that's important. Sometimes we'll find that the councils and elected officials don't have a 5-year strategic plan to help guide the staff and the city manager and the management staff and the employees in really focusing and drilling down on what it is they do on a daily basis and what does the council and the community want to see accomplished. When we're looking at everything from parks and recreation to public safety, this is just the summary. When we go down to a department, and I'll go to fire, in this case, there's a lot of things just within a fire department, from operational policies to staffing and training, regional collaboration, mutual aid, automatic aid, calls for service. And I want to highlight something here. So if we're doing the study for you, we're going to drill down at policies, procedures, personnel, the way things are done. Asset management is a big one. I wanted to share this with you. So as we did with this study, and this is just fire, remember that we're going to be doing all these departments. You'll notice here that their call volumes, their responses went up in 2 years from 849 to 2,000. Look at their expenses compared. I mean, when you're able to do some of that analysis as elected officials, it helps you, and the intent of this is to provide you with as much information, useful information as possible about where are your departments doing well, in what areas they're doing well, their opportunities for greater cost savings. The pension liabilities throughout the United States are going up. And so if there are opportunities for you to find greater efficiencies in other areas, I'll give you one example, then we want to be able to do that. So in this case, total responses increased 240%. EMS calls include, look at the fire responses increased 700%, and the budget didn't change. That in and of itself is an important finding, but you go back and you look at all of these other findings after retirement of apparatus. Does a department, does the city have a good fleet management replacement plan? Do they have a capital improvements plan? And I'll give you one example of how this is helpful. We're finishing up an efficiency study for the city of Sheridan, Wyoming. And in that process, they have 30 vehicles that value about $1,830,000. They have Durango SUVs. The vehicles themselves cost $44,000 for the high performance kit, and then $21,000 more to put the sirens and the radios and the lights on it. Average municipalities get 4 to 5 years out of their vehicles. Some get a little higher, but on average, Sheridan gets theirs 8 years out of their vehicles. So over a 3-year period, that police chief and that department is saving the taxpayers $686,000 over 3 years. So we want to be able to do this study to identify, are there opportunities for greater efficiency? Well, maybe they can use a purchasing pool, like a statewide purchasing pool for public vehicles. Maybe there's an opportunity to find that there's, fleet management can be improved. Sometimes municipalities have centralized maintenance. Sometimes they have decentralized maintenance where departments take care of their own vehicles. And sometimes IT is decentralized. All the departments make their own software purchases. And sometimes it's centralized where there's more of an overall strategy, an enterprise resource strategy for the city. So I've just shared a couple of examples with you, but in each department, you'll notice from the Syracuse study, from any of those links that we provided, that there are always opportunities for greater efficiency. I'll share a quick story. When we did an efficiency study for the city of Arkansas City, Kansas, we did all the departments, police, fire, public works, top to bottom. About a year later, I was driving into town. I just happened to be passing through, and I stopped to talk to the city manager, and he had left, and they had an interim city manager there. And I watched two guys walking across the street from City Hall to the police department, and they had what looked like a copy of the study under their arm. And I thought, oh, I wonder where they're going. I wonder what that was. So I found out they were over at the police department having a meeting. I went over there, and I saw the interim city manager, and I knew him from years before. I said, hey, Dick, how are you? And he said, great. I said, what's going on? He said, well, we had this study done last year by a consulting firm, and it really helped us develop a management plan for all of our departments, and we're working with the police department right now to update some software, and we were having this meeting. I handed him my card. He looked at my card. He looked at the report. He looked at my card, and he said, it's you guys. And it was just really satisfying to see that a year later they were still using that as their roadmap. The department heads had embraced it. The council had embraced it. And so that's really important. I wanted you to know that when we do this, there's interviews, there's reviewing documentation, reviewing plans, discussing, and we bring the team on site. So there's a lot of great things that can come out of this. But most importantly, it'll provide you with a lot of information with the help with you and the assistance of your department heads and your city manager. Will be able to prioritize some of those, and that'll become a roadmap for you moving forward. In the study, we will include in each section, this is the last thing I have for you, we will include I'm sorry, wrong one. We will include in the report not only our findings, but our recommendations and what the impact will be. And so just like I shared with you that one finding from the police department in Sheridan, we'll be able to provide you with the cost and benefits of each of these recommendations. So we have found over the years that we'll find millions of dollars of opportunities for cost savings for a study that costs, in this case, less than $50,000. We like to think that we're providing a significant value to a municipality, and we hope that by providing this service to you that your employees will enjoy it. It won't just be a study that sits on a shelf. It'll be something that you'll be able to use for years moving forward. So with that, I'd like to finish and then ask if there are any questions.
Does council have any questions for David at all? If I may add, Max Jackson, who's he included him in the study, is our law enforcement senior associate. He is a former deputy sheriff from southern Utah, Lake Powell area, but then he was also a police chief for 25 years. He was the president of the Rural Chiefs of Police Association nationally, and he lived in Beckley 40 years ago. When he called me, and I told him I was working on a proposal, he said, "Oh, for what city?" And I said, "Oh, you probably never heard of him." Beckley, West Virginia. And he says, "I used to live there." I'm like, "You're kidding me." So he's pretty excited about the opportunity
work shoulder to shoulder with some of the law enforcement team there if we have that opportunity, so.
And then, could you walk through like the timeline for council if they do approve it today? What is that going to look like, and the steps going forward if that's the case?
Okay, let me pull that up really quick. I apologize. So we will, from the moment we have a notice to proceed, we'll start gathering documents. We'll ask staff to, if they could send us copies of information. We'll have a Dropbox, and we'll get copies of plans and reports and everything from the budget to everything you can think of. We're gonna do a book study of that before we get on site. We'll work with staff to identify the time and coordinate with them that we can come on site, and we can spend 3 to 5 days, 3 to 4 days. We don't want to take too much time initially, but we want to give staff enough time. We'll be on site for 3 days. Some departments will require, they'll want the associates to come back, but we're looking at a preliminary report within 60 to 75 days. Why is that important? Well, and please correct me, I believe you're on a fiscal year, July 1, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So we want to be able to get you some useful information in not only the entire report, but at least the preliminary report, so that you can consider some of this information in your budget planning. So we're looking at a completion date. We'll have on-site kickoff, we'll have department meetings, off-site validation and follow-up. We'll need to get data from time to time, some clarification on things. Department heads will be involved in not only the on-site meetings, but this is a tactile experience where we sit down in the different departments, and there's a lot of discussion and some relationship building. And then the report draft is due. The department heads and the city manager will have the opportunity to review those. There'll be areas where we need to fill some holes, where we need to get some additional data, where we need to do some comparative analysis with other municipalities or some service level information. But that report, the preliminary report's due with 60 to 75 days. It's reviewed by staff. That's a working document generally. It's not really available to the public because we're still working through stuff. But that final report, we're hoping it'll be done in May or earlier than that. There's also something that we like to consider, and that is the case of Arkansas City. There was a lot of community interest in this, and so they ran 15 days, a daily section in the newspaper, the local newspaper, that covered each different sections of the report. They sold out 11 of 15 days, and it was really wonderful for me to experience that. We had a very interested media, and it was nice to be able to work with them, and the public really enjoyed it as well. So we really think that there was a lot of value there. So that final report, and then after that, there'll be some presentations. Whether we bring back the entire team or whether we bring back some of the members of the team for a presentation to the city council workshop. In that case, most of the time, the department heads are familiar enough with what our findings and recommendations are that it's collaborative. And then there'll be some implementation training where some departments may ask for additional assistance in implementing some stuff, and we're happy to provide that if that time comes to that. So I hope that answers your question, Michael.
Perfect, thank you.
Sure.
If there's no other questions, then this is the recommendation that as a city manager, we would like to recommend to council to approve to help give us that snapshot picture of where we're at, where our efficiencies are, where we can make those improvements, and find funding sources so that we can get projects that we're wanting to do on in the future, to get funding for them to make Beckley what the potential it has. And I think this is a great resource to provide that to the residents, to the department heads, to give them that support that they need to say, hey, what's been done in all other municipalities across the area? What problems are you facing? This group can give those recommendations and help make those changes, and then we can brainstorm when we do have it completed how to implement those kind of changes and those recommendations that's presented. Thank you.
Okay, so at this time, may I have a motion to approve the operations audit for Municipal Solutions LLC in the amount of $48,200?
Well, personally, I'd like to have this tabled.
Well,
I said I'd like to have this tabled to the
I
next.
think to have it tabled first has to be,
Okay.
there has to be a motion and a second before you can discuss it. Is that right, Mr. Fowle? Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I think that's correct.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so now we'll open it up to questions and debate. Does anybody from council have any questions?
Well, if he's made a motion to table, then there is no further discussion.
Oh,
You vote on
okay.
the motion to table. So he needs,
Okay, so it's been brought up by Councilman Williams to table this to, I guess, the next city council meeting. Is there a second? Any discussion or questions for
you
postponing?
don't discuss.
Oh, okay.
Just vote.
So is it just postponed?
Just vote. You have to vote on it.
All those in favor of postponing this to the next city council meeting signify by saying aye.
Are we motioning it before you make the motion? Are we making a motion like,
To
are y'all
suspend
wanting, are
this?
you wanting, well, no, to table it, but are y'all wanting to have a workshop or something before the next council meeting? Is that why you're wanting to table it, Mr. Williams?
Yes, I think what the gentleman's saying is very good, but then also I think, it's been 4 weeks since we've seen each other, and I'd like to read more about it. From what I'm hearing, it's pretty good, but then also for my peace of mind, I'd like to read more about it.
So we take a vote?
Just call for a vote.
Okay, at this time, we will vote. All those in favor of tabling the operations audit, say aye. Anyone opposed, say no. Okay, ayes have it. It'll be tabled till, I guess, the next city council meeting?
The 28th, yes.
28th, thank you.
Can we
City
get a
Manager.
workshop scheduled before then?
We can definitely do that, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, next item of business, we will recognize, and I'm going to refer to Chief Ed Thompson on this, recognition of firefighter for the Life Saving Award. I'll turn it over to you. Yes, absolutely.
Few minutes of your time to recognize two of our firefighters publicly. The first firefighter I would like to recognize is Lieutenant Michael Seegers. So we'll be giving Michael Seegers the life-saving medal tonight. Just to read briefly from his commendation letter. It's with great pride and admiration I award you the Life-Saving Medal second issue for your actions on October 29th, 2024. Your off-duty actions exemplify the highest ideals of the Beckley Fire Department and reaffirms our commitment to the safety and well-being of our community, whether on or off the clock. On the day in question, while dining in the local restaurant with your family, you observed a fellow patron in clear distress, choking and unable to breathe. Acting with skill, decisiveness, and courage that define a true firefighter, you immediately assessed the situation and performed the Heimlich maneuver. Your swift and effective response dislodged the obstruction, allowing the individual to breathe again. This life-saving act, carried out without hesitation, underscores your dedication to service and your ability to act under pressure. On behalf of the Beckley Fire Department and the citizens we serve, I extend my deepest gratitude and congratulations. You have truly earned this honor. Thank you very much. The next firefighter I would like to recognize is Firefighter First Class Jimmy Meadows, Jr. So I'm actually presenting this award on behalf of Local 795 for Firefighter of the Year. I've had the privilege of operating as Jimmy's training officer in the past. Very proud of his growth as a firefighter and as a man and as a new husband and father. This recognition reflects the respect and admiration your peers hold for you. Your contributions have made a lasting impact and on both the Beckley Fire Department and the community we serve, and we are proud to honor you for all you do. Thank you, Jim. Again, thank you, council, for your time.
Thank you, Chief.
Good job.
All right, next item on the agenda is the appointment of the city manager to the New River Transit Authority Board of Directors. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Anybody have any questions for city manager Michael Rozier on this? No? Okay, good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed say no. Okay. Thank you, council. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And next is the appointment for the city manager to the Region 4 Board of Directors. So may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Anybody have any questions for city manager on this, on the Region 4? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed say no. Okay, thank you, council. All right, next up is the public comments. As you remember, like, speakers are required to sign up ahead of time, which I know several of y'all did. Just announce your name and your address. Each person will be given 3 minutes, and with 30 seconds or 1 minute remaining, you'll let me know.
30 seconds.
So with 30 seconds remaining, we'll sound a bell or whatever just to let you know to kind of wrap it up. So first up is Mary West. Oh, man. Huh? Make what speech?
Well, Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Now, we brought some stuff from 2024 over into 2025. A different year, but the same old stuff. So can you all tell me, what are you all planning on doing to help LaRue Avenue? I watched these idiots in the snow flying down through there like there was no snow out there. So something needs to be done down there to help us. And if you all can do it, it will be greatly appreciated. And another thing, I don't know if you all have anything to do with your court systems here, but would you all mind speaking to your magistrate court and your circuit court and tell them if someone pays for an appeal to be front and honest with the person and let them know that they're gonna have to come back and pay to serve the people that they are bringing to court. Now, this is what's going on. Once you pay the fee. Now, they gave me a court date. And then they turned around and called me just this evening to tell me I have to come back and serve papers on the people that I'm bringing to court. Well, why? And what happened to the money I gave them to file the appeal? And if you all can tell them to be front and center with everyone and let them know what to expect out of them. Because I did not expect this. I called people to come to court with me, and now I have to put it on hold because these people have to be served. So if you all can do something about all this nonsense here in Beckley and make it better for us to be able, you know, us plain people, to be able to live, because it's getting harder out here. And like I said, LaRue is not just the only street that need help. It's a whole lot of other streets. This is beginning to be Racetrack City. So you all gonna change the name from Beckley to Racetrack City? That might work. So I thank you all.
Thank you.
Now, I guess I can stand back in this hole somewhere.
Next up, Kelly Gano.
Right.
I did that just for you.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Kelly Gano. I'm the Development Director for West Virginia Collective. I gave my organizational address of 105 Prince Street. I come to talk to everybody about the rates of the Raleigh Playhouse. I sent council an email last night, and if you did not get to review that, there's been a copy ran off for you. So West Virginia Collective has been using the Raleigh Playhouse since 2017. Since then, the city of Beckley, Leslie, and Shane have been really supportive of the collective in their efforts to put on productions and shows at the Playhouse. So our concern is that we are not able to financially use that facility anymore, and it directly affects the planning of our spring show. So in the email that I sent last night, I provided our organizational financials since 2017 to December 31st, 2024. I provided the production financials of all time, so all the productions that we performed through the Playhouse, I provided all of that. The Raleigh rates that we have paid for all of those productions, and the new quote that we received for 2025. And then some examples across the country of how other municipalities they manage that with nonprofits. So the first point I just kind of want to make was that we ended the 2024 fiscal year at the deficit of $6,219. But we paid $5,850 in venue costs to the city. So we would have been able to break even had we not had to pay anything to the city. So for Heather's, which was the fall 2024 show, which several of you came and saw, Councilwoman Coots got to help with ticketing for that. We paid $3,250 for 37 days of use, and we requested 32 days of use for our upcoming spring show, and were quoted $4,900. So this is our last-ditch effort plea with the city, and this is no way anything toward Leslie or Parks and Rec or Shane, because they have
30
been
seconds.
nothing but wonderful to us. But we understand that they're working within a budget too. So we're coming to the city to help support that somehow.
Okay.
Thank you.
We will review, get back to you, but thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Next up, Tom Mosley.
How is everyone?
Good.
Hope you had a good New Year. So I've been coming up since August asking this council for a couple of things. One, we talked a lot about safety committee, and I've given you all a lot of information on that. I also talked to you about honoring two citizens. I want to thank both of you for acknowledging that. You know, at the end of the day, I've been given a lot of different reasons this hasn't come on the agenda. And the final one I got was to wait on Mr. Rozier. And no offense to Mr. Rozier, but it's not his job to put these items on the agenda. It's the council's. So I understand the Safety Commission takes time. Honoring their citizens is past practice. It's been done in the past through the former mayors we had, and I think 5 months is egregious to take that long to get this done. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Next up, Christina Baisden.
Christina Baisden. One of the first things I want to talk about is the city website. Phenomenal job, whoever did it. It's easy to navigate. Love it. Thank you. Also, on the agenda, under public comments, it says, due to the Open Meetings Act, the council members and mayor will not respond to the speaker. Comments, concerns, and issues will be recorded and reviewed. My question is, where in the Open Meeting Act is this to say that you will not respond to the speaker? And also, where are we supposed to direct our questions if we cannot direct them here? Because I have a question about the appointment of the city manager to Region 4 Board of Directors. What Region 4 Board of Directors? I don't even know what that means. Next, I want to talk about the prayer here at City Council. I want to read an excerpt from the Freedom from Religion website. It says, citizens of all religions or no religion are compelled to come before local government bodies on civic, secular matters, variances, sewers, permits, license, repairs, etc., and they should not be subjected to a religious show or test or be expected to bow heads or demonstrate religious obeisance at a government function, nor is it necessary to prey on taxpayers' time and dime. Members of government boards are free to pray privately and to worship on their own time in their own way. When government bodies lend their power and prestige to religion, this amounts to a governmental endorsement that excludes 1/5 of our population. Today, 1 in 5 adult Americans is non-religious. This practice inevitably will turn minorities, including atheists, Jews, Muslims, Hindus, and Wiccans into second-class citizens. Even when prayers are non-denominational, there is no way a government body may conduct prayer that will not inevitably exclude, divide, or embarrass at least some taxpayers and constituents. Even Jesus in the New Testament condemned public prayer, Matthew 6:5-6.
30
And when you
seconds.
pray, you must not be like the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and at the street corners, and they may be seen by others. Truly, I say to you, they have received their reward. But when you pray, go into your room and shut the door and pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you. This is about observing our 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which is the separation of church and state. And may I suggest that we instead do a moment of silence. Thank you.
Next up, Danielle Stewart.
Danielle Stewart, 112 Glen Avenue. A couple of things. First off, the operations audit. I'm glad that y'all are taking a little more time to look at that, but please do that. Please do that. This city needs that badly, and I think you will find that money is well spent money. Second thing that I have is, and I'm going to pass this out to pass around. I love that you have changed the agenda. However, City Code Section 2-204 has specified the order of the agenda. I have asked you all, or talked to you all last year, that needed to be updated and looked at. Again, encourage you all to look at changing the ordinance. You're very much on the borderline of being against that ordinance, which then opens you up to potential litigation on any actions that you've taken. Lastly, and with great regrets, after over 30 years of service, on February 28th, Raleigh County Community Action Association will be closing the homeless shelter. We have spent the last 2 years trying to find the funding to do it. We've talked to the city, we've talked to the county, we've talked to the state. As a collective, the organizations have decided you do not want that service in our city anymore. We can't afford to pay for it, and so it's at February 28th, it'll be closed. Until then, though, we will continue looking. We don't want to close, we want to continue operations, but we are $8,700 short a month, every month, with the way things are now. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Rose Hicks.
Rose Hicks Bradley. Okay, Happy New Year to everyone. All my issues I have to do with streets and street signs. Mr. Mosley's idea road committee would be very helpful. Sherry Hunter's been trying to help with one of my issues. Queen Anne Drive is the road between Raglan Road and Walmart in Beckley off of Eisenhower Drive. Tractor trailers from Walmart and Bridgeport equipment is the biggest problem on the road, and no one will take responsibility. Other issues I've brought up is I think we should have a four-way stop at Berry and Hull Street. There needs to be a left turn signal on South Canala Street at the City Bank and on and on Robert C. Byrd Drive, both north and southbound lanes at the intersection of Central Avenue, Mabscott, and 3rd Avenue into town. There are turning lanes there, but there's no signals. There's no speed limit sign on 2nd Street. I assume it's 25, but it's because it's around town, but there is no sign. The bridge needs some help. That's at the back of Panera and Sheets area from Raglan Road. There needs to be a stop sign painted again on the pavement in front of the Plaza McDonald's. Nobody even, they're not familiar with the area, don't know it's there, or supposed to be there, and ones that do seem to not care. Mary West and I have both requested prayer before the council meetings, and on December 10th, council meeting, Captain Liz said a prayer before the meeting. Thank you for having prayer now. I thank Captain Liz and Bishop Sims. There were two things from two things that really surprised me from the December 10th council meeting. One was Christine Basin was afraid the city council would get in trouble for having prayer. I don't know why she would be afraid the city council would get in trouble. And the second was there was a man that wanted to get his family in the tunnels before the rapture comes. I just have no words. For these two things, I am completely, totally dumbfounded.
Thank you. Next up, Aretha Van Horn.
Hello, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Okay, I'm from Aretha Van Horn, LaRue Avenue. I'm gonna pick this ink pen up. And I just had a couple of things to say. First of all, as he was speaking about the folks that come through and clear the snow, I want you to know if you get upset if their snow blocks your driveway, just think about the fact that they've cleared the whole road for you. They're out there at 4:30 in the morning. I hear them coming by. I'm up, you know, and sometimes I'm that early bird. I'm out there shoveling my snow, and I wave, and they block my stuff, and I just move it out the way after they go by. So I'm thank you all for that. I have a question, and I know you can't answer it now, but is there a land development or something or a projection in the near future near Eisenhower Drive or over on Bureau Avenue? And I ask that question because all of a sudden I have a high interest in our church building and in a property over there. And then all of a sudden there have been insurance audits. We've been on that, we've had those buildings for over 12 years. And then all of a sudden there's one from one insurance company and one from another insurance company. And so I have concerns that if there's a project getting ready to go on or a development, that we as citizens would be made aware of it, because I feel like someone's wanting to buy the property to maybe volley position, or I don't know, but it's just come out of the clear blue. And the old house I lived in over on LaRue, that needed an audit, if anything. It was 100 years old and it never got one. So, and then the other thing I just wanted to mention, of course, is the speeding on LaRue Avenue, and whether we would be able to petition for either speed bumps or rumble strips, and the information that the one gentleman passed out the last time I went online and saw the same stuff. So, and it, you know, whatever would be better for the community cost-wise, but just to slow that traffic. As my daughter-in-law was sharing before, she was backing out with my only grandchild. You know, cars were just zooming by, and she said, wow, this is like, these people are flying down through here. And so just for the safety of our citizens and our communities, and not just on LaRue Avenue.
30 seconds.
Thank you. But not just on LaRue, but all over. And thank you all for covering that hole that was at the top of LaRue and Kanawha. Now, because of the bad weather, it has popped back in again, and I understand that, but thank you all for making it happen initially. Just the safety in that ice when it gets in it on that curve. Thank you.
Thank you. And if there's any public comments, if you're calling by phone, you can actually dial *3 to raise your hand, or if you're connected by computer, you can click the hand icon on your participants panel. I guess, Anthony, you kind of...
We have one person that wants to speak. His name is Michael Levin.
Hello?
Yeah. You got the show. You got 3 minutes. Are you there?
Yes, can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Michelle Levin, and I am a concerned citizen. I've been working with Sherry Hunter, and for 2 years we've been fighting for a traffic light on Stanford and Woodcrest. I live in Woodcrest, and it's been awful trying to make a left-hand turn. Sherry has talked to the principal. There's a ton of traffic there. There's a ton of events. There's doctor's offices. There's businesses there. There's tons of people that live in the community. And it's really a safety issue. And I wish somebody would look into that and try to put a light there, because it's really a concern.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. All right, with that, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Do you want to make sure there's nobody else?
He said there was only one person.
Is that it?
Make sure they can click it. 'Cause they got a chance to click it.
Second, we're adjourned. Thank you. We gotta make it difficult, Cody.
He's ready to go.